A father and son facing terrorism charges appeared in a Newmarket court on Thursday. This week, the RCMP announced the pair were arrested while allegedly in the advanced stages of planning an attack on Toronto. I spoke with Jamie Strashin for more on what happened in court and what else we've learned about the alleged plot.
The first look we had at this father and son suspects, they appeared in court today, each separately, each via video. The son appearing first seemed bewildered and confused. The one chance that he did have to talk, saying, "I just want to say all of these charges against me, I didn't do anything." He was then told by the judge, this isn't the time to talk about evidence. A long way to go for him. No lawyer yet. He's been told to apply for legal aid. That has to go through a process. He's going to come back to court on August 7th. Both men being held, Chris, on what's known as a reverse onus, which means they need to prove that they should be granted bail. So it looks like they'll both be held for at least the next little while, at least until August 7th and likely beyond. The father appeared about an hour later. When he had a chance to speak, he stressed that his son, Mustafa, had nothing to do with anything that was going on. Both men required an Arabic interpreter to hear what the Crown and what the judge was saying. Both will come back, Chris, on August 7th. Hopefully at that point they've taken some steps to retain legal counsel. That will be kind of the next step before any kind of formal bail hearing can be done here in what the judge said is obviously very serious charges both men are facing. We heard from police yesterday, Chris, that this was an imminent attack that was seemingly, thwarted at the last second. The men were arrested at a hotel in Richmond Hill. Sources tell CBC that they, had just recently filmed a video pledging allegiance to ISIS in front of an ISIS flag. They were brandishing an axe and a machete. They were charged with conspiracy to commit murder on behalf or in aid of the Islamic State, or ISIS as it's more commonly known. Police wouldn't say what particular community was being targeted, but there's obviously been a number of communities under a lot of stress and scrutiny across the Toronto area, especially since those October 7th war began in Israel. What we also know is that the father was charged with aggravated assault based on an assault that took place outside of Canada, Chris, back in 2015 in support of ISIS. And it's that charge that is really attracting a lot of attention today. The RCMP originally said yesterday to reporters that both men were Canadian citizens. I pushed them on that. Some sources were telling me different, and they backtracked, saying that the father was a Canadian citizen, the son, in fact, not a Canadian citizen. But many wondering how the father was able to re-enter back into Canada and live here for the last 10 years. One of those people, the Conservative government's public safety minister, asking that very question of the government, how was Mr. El-Didi allowed to come back to Canada after that alleged 2015 incident and apparently live here right up until his arrest? There's questions, did he travel? Where did he go in the interim? All of these questions remain on the table and really, require some answers from the government, from officials involved in this case. But I think it's important to note here, it's very much at the beginning. Neither of these men have lawyers yet. There's been no bail hearing yet. We're a long way from hearing a fulsome disclosure of the evidence that was gathered, and really what was a brief investigation for a case of this scope. It began at the beginning of July and culminated this past weekend with the arrests at that Richmond Hill hotel. Chris?
So many unanswered questions and so many chilling details as well. Jamie Strashin reporting for us. Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.